On this episode of A Brighter Bree, I get to interview my friend Melanie Joy Sims, formerly a broadcast editor and music writer for the Associated Press, and later a successful journalist for ABC News Radio, where she interviewed the top R&B and hip hop performers of that time. We also talk about her journey in advertising, where she gets to create commercials for the most popular brands we all know.
I do.
Whoa! A double rainbow!
A double golden rainbow.
While simultaneously working the gigs she ultimately enjoys as a voice-over artist. Does this voice sound familiar?
Tonight on America in Black.
I put myself in a position where I had to sink or swim.
Michael B. Jordan is an actor, producer, one of the sexiest men alive, and now the director of his latest film, Creed 3.
Yup, that's her. So enough of this intro. Let's get to the details of Melanie's journey. Y'all ready to catch up? So guys, welcome back to another episode of A Brighter Bree. Thank you for tuning in.
And we have Bree.
And the voice you hear, because I'll be cutting to you then. The voice you hear is of our guest. Give it up for Melanie Joy Sims.
Hey, thank you for that intro, girl.
I'm working on it. I know it's
Shout
a
out
little...
to my years as a broadcast editor for the Associated Press. I was never an editor. Oh, yeah.
You forgot you were editor for them?
Well, I didn't think I was an editor, but yeah, I was. As an editing copy. Yeah.
What
no,
was
it's
the
true.
actual title? Did I mess it up?
No, it was broadcast editor. But I just never think of that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, just move on. Move on.
No. No, you're fine. This is why you're here, so I can learn about you. I mean, we talk to our friends all the time. We talk about talking about everything in life.
Sure.
Dating, relationships, just life in general, life be life. And we rarely get to know what they actually do for a living and about their journey, because we've been knowing each other a long time now. And all I knew initially was, oh, that's Ronnie's friend. That's the writer girl who always dresses cool and everything. I really didn't know the details of your, job and your journey. I know one time Ariana Grande reposted you, and that was the most exciting thing. I'm I know a girl who knows Ariana Grande, in my mind at the time.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But tell us a little bit about your journey. Did you what was your major in college? Was it journalism or?
Yeah, I always thought that actually let me take it all the way back to childhood.
Okay.
I always loved to read out loud. Such a weirdo kid thing to do. But I used to always stand behind my parents' file cabinet and read out of random textbooks because I wanted to be and this is the nerdiest, squarest thing anyone could possibly do. I wanted to be the people who read in church. I went to a Catholic church, so they would do the
the church announcements type.
So in Catholic church, they do the readings. Somebody reads just a random passage from the Bible, right? And I was I want to do that one day. Fast forward a gazillion years, college. I studied journalism, and I think part of it was because I just like to
read aloud.
Read out loud. Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're doing right now.
Further down the road, I don't even have to do the journalism thing. I don't even have to cover a story. I can just do voiceover and read out loud.
There you have it. There you have. But that's the story for a lot of us. Because I think it was ingrained in our parents, whether they did or did not go to college, they were going to make sure their kids went to college. So I feel the same way about my journey. I'm yeah, I really didn't need to go to college. I mean, I'm thankful now, don't get me wrong, but it's just for what you do now, we're learning you really didn't have to go to college in order to be on the path you're on.
It worked out though, because I feel I went to school for broadcast journalism. I realized as I was getting closer to job time that I was really not fit for journalism. I didn't need to be out in the field covering stories for broadcast. I was I'm not going to be shooting my own video. I'm not good at that. And luckily I ended up at the Associated Press, and I worked as a national desk assistant in New York. So I was like
That was the
answering the
title?
phone, messing up tips. Tom Brokaw, the news anchor dude, called one day with like a hot tip about a senator. And I messed that all the way up. And that's when I knew then too, this isn't for me. But it's okay because it
Hold on, how
opened
you
another
messed it
door.
up?
I forgot the tip. It's like I didn't write it down. I tried to repeat it. And I wasn't even able to pass it along. Sorry about that. So anyway, it
Yeah.
worked out in that I met the music editor for the Associated Press randomly in the bathroom one day, and she had me write some music reviews, which really was like in line with what I really wanted to do, which was to be a music writer, because I always felt like I'm going to interview artists and blah blah blah. So I did that. I was a music writer, and then that was on the side, but I was still working on the desk, being bad at answering calls and taking tips and helping reporters do their job better. I was terrible at that. But it's okay because I became a broadcast editor and I was actually like editing news stories, from the Midwest. So it would be like, freak accident, someone falls into the grain in a silo and they die. All right, we do a shortened version of the original that ran on a local in the local
I mean,
news.
that's not funny, but I'm just like, it just got real dark real quick. That's all I was like.
I was writing things about like the deer populations I was editing pieces about the deer population in North Dakota, just all sorts of randomness. Again, not really towards the dream, but I wanted to be a music writer. And eventually I did get a job with ABC. So I went over to ABC. I took all my little editing skills and my, music review skills on over to ABC, and I started interviewing artists. And I felt like, wow, this is my dream. And my dream job came quickly. Like
Wow,
I didn't even have to do a
yeah.
bunch of different jobs before I got it. And then I realized, you know, a lot of the artists who would come in, they were telling me the same story that they had told like the the other publication, and then like it didn't feel like I was breaking anything exclusive. So I was like, this almost feels like
Rehearsed.
having an authentic conversation.
Yeah.
And I was watching a lot of Mad Men at the time. And Mad, I don't know if you ever watched Mad Men on
I've seen it
NBC.
a few times, yeah.
And I was like, I would love to write in the advertising world. I could do that. My lease was
Hold
about
up,
to
let's
be up.
pause real quick. Let's revisit that because we were talking about that the other day about how like you see interviews of certain artists and it seems like, oh, they said that in
Right.
a few other interviews.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel like you were able to break that whenever that did happen? Or
I
do you?
wasn't. I mean, you can't
Oh,
really beat it because it's like, I feel like artists only have so many big stories to break, right?
mm-hmm.
And they need to break them with the biggest,
Platform.
platform that they can get
Mm-hmm.
to. And even though ABC is big, it was ABC Radio, and people just weren't telling any big news to us. So at least
But
none
it's
of that.
still ABC though. Like,
Yeah. But I mean,
it's
I
the
feel like you
radio
have.
part that made it.
But that's the thing too. I feel like the shift was happening too, where it's like, yeah, this is a big name for sure. But I think that at the time when like blogs were big and video blogs and blogging was bigger too, like, and interviews you could find them on YouTube. I think that, now it's like it's not the institutional old school news like giants that are maybe getting the biggest stories. Like
Oh
the
no,
biggest
not
stories
now.
you find them on wherever you find them. You might find them directly through Twitter. Like the
Yeah.
big story might just you're collecting the news, and you'll
Yeah.
see it reposted, but it's like by then you've already had your own discussion about it. So I feel like the way the media works is it was changing then. And I feel like it's all the way different even now.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about the random stories you were right on and then you ultimately got your dream job
Yeah.
working as a music writer. Do you even feel like the random stories you were writing on like prepared you for that though? Like
It
sometimes
really
like
did.
we
I
don't
mean,
realize while we're on the journey, like even the little stuff you like, oh, I'm doing this mess and I really don't even like doing it. But it's like it's still like built like a muscle for you. No, you don't feel that at all?
right. I think it put me in the right room.
Okay.
Right. So like if I wasn't in that space, if I didn't have that on my resume, maybe I wouldn't have got the ABC job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not that what I was editing then was necessarily like something that really like made me a better music writer. But I feel like it put me in like the right place with the right people, so
So
in that way it
it
definitely
served a
worked out.
purpose still,
And
you know?
even that it was adjacent to, like literally I remember I prayed at my desk like, God, please, I just want to write some music stories. And I swear to you, I got up from my desk, I walked to the women's restroom, and the music editor was drying her hands, right? One of the few Black people at the AP at the time, in this office that I was in. And and she, just like was like, "Oh, hey, if you ever want to write some music reviews."
Hold on,
I was like,
wait a minute.
"Wow, were you reading my mind?"
This was right after you said your prayer?
Literally, I literally said it at this desk, and I just stood up and I walked to the bathroom and she was in there and she just said, like, if you ever want to write any music reviews. And I was like, okay. And before I knew it, I was writing music reviews. I got my first interview. I interviewed Keke Palmer when she was like 12.
And
And
now
she was
she's like the hottest topic right now.
right. When she was just
Ironically.
eating Cheetos doing an interview, and she was amazing even then and funny then. And she
Yes.
was like somebody's auntie even then.
She's got an old soul, like a
She
loving
does.
old soul. I love
She
her. Like when she was like, she like 29 or something now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I'm like,
Yeah.
she's giving like her maturity level is like 55. But hold up, before we get to that, like, let's talk about manifestation real quick. People,
Right.
just that's proof right there. If people just put out what you want into the universe, say your prayers, like that
Yeah.
has it ever happened that instant for you before?
No, but I feel like my whole music thing was like something God let me have quick so that I could move on to whatever else he has for me.
Okay.
Because he was like, okay, let's get this out the way. All right, yeah, music reviews. And then I
Let me
did the thing
show
with
her.
ABC, and I was like, I feel like I'm interviewing people, but it's the same story all the time, or it's like I feel like it's such a canned response. It's like they wrote these answers before they even hit the road. And I think that the thing that I wanted was to be like Oprah. When Oprah sits down with you and like the person across from her is
Yeah.
like, oh, I just had an aha moment, Oprah. Well, when Oprah is like,
Yeah.
say that again.
Yes,
Say that again. And I thought that's what it was going to be, but no, they give that to Oprah because Oprah is Oprah. And then also, I think there's this thing with like peers, when you're talking to Oprah, Oprah is still Oprah, even for
Yeah.
a celebrity. Cause
Yeah. Well,
so
you still Melanie.
I'm not Oprah girl. I'm not even Oprah light. I was never even close. I don't even think I was a great music writer. Not because I didn't write well, but because I
Mhm.
didn't chase stories. I was never like, I'm not even a friend who can like talk her way into a club or blah blah blah. And I feel like that's
Ooh,
a
me
little bit
neither.
of what it takes to be an entertainment
Yeah.
journalist,
Oh,
which I,
which is why
kind
I
of get
struggle
now.
with it.
I'm
No,
like, oh,
because
you is a 4-hour wait. Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll wait.
Yeah.
4 hours and 1 minute later. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
I call that we're rule followers.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think you
100%.
can't be that in this business. You have to like really not take no for an answer,
Yeah. And that's why I'm in advertising, which also breaks some rules, but in my role, I don't have to do it so much.
So, I mean, you say you got the music writing gig fairly quickly after you manifested
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
like what was it for you then that you realized, hold on, I got to look at the time real quick. Okay, we got a little bit more time. Okay. What was it for you then that you realized that okay, maybe I don't want to do this? And what was your next step then? Did you cuz for me, like I said, as your friend, I always like knew you as working. Was there a lapse in time when you weren't working, or did you always just move on to the next job? It
Oh,
just
them bills
always.
were always telling me, stay in a job, girl, stay in a job. But I feel like I was around people who were really good at the job, and they had the same resources as me.
Mm-hmm.
They sat in the same office as me. They had the same bosses as me, but they were like excelling. And I feel like they had a hunger for it, and they were not like their personality was different from mine. Everything was different. And I just kind of felt like, oh, that's the person who should be doing this. But it's not me. Like I should be doing something else.
So
And
you were
even there was There was a guy who edited me, and he was like, "You have really great turns of phrase." Like just in my like the writing itself, like he felt
Mhm.
like my writing was good. I was like, "Oh, thanks." And sometimes I felt like even as like a person who was covering stuff, it didn't excite me necessarily to cover the news. The thing
Mhm.
that excited me was like the craft of writing and like
Okay.
writing beautiful sentences and like writing things that like, feel nice and look good on the page and like have a nice rhythm and blah, 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 blah. And you can do all of that, but entertainment journalism don't need that from you. I mean, you can write some beautiful essays like
Yeah.
entertainment. You can do some beautiful interviews and like some big feature item on whoever, but in the day to day, like that's not what it is. This is
Yeah.
like, you need to just get these news stories out there because you're supposed to be breaking news.
Yeah.
So then I was like, who would appreciate that? Maybe advertising.
So you went through the process of thinking, okay, like I'm realizing other people excel at X, Y, and Z, but maybe I can use what skills I do enjoy in another area, and you came to advertising that
Yeah,
way.
I was like, I have been watching a whole bunch of Mad Men on AMC. I was watching this like it's a period piece, like I don't know what it's set in like the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And you see like this agency and these people like making ads for like
John Ham. Mm-hmm. I got it,
eh,
girl. I know. I know what you're talking
I know
about.
John Ham with his class up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I could absolutely do that. I could do that. And so I knew that I wanted something different. I didn't really know exactly what it was, but I knew I wanted something different. And I and
Mm-hmm.
I won't even act like I had some big realization,
Mm-hmm.
some revelation. No, it was just a desire to do something else. And then I saw something that I might want to do.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out how to get a job in the advertising world. I started looking, and the thing that was holding me back was that I didn't have a portfolio. So I needed like a website to show, like some spec work, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, f- some fake ads to show that I can make real ads, right? So
Okay. So you didn't have any actual ones at that
I didn't
time.
have any of those. Yeah,
Okay.
so I went to journalism. So I went to a boot camp for advertising. I, I let my apartment go. My lease was almost up anyway. I moved back to the Midwest. I went to Chicago Portfolio School. First of all, I drained my 401k,
Oh
and
wow.
there
Hold
was
up.
no financial
Chicago
aid.
Portfolio School, was it like a course of weeks or a year, or
It
how
was
how
2
long is that?
years. It was the
Oh
shortest program you
wow.
could do. It could be a year and a half, really. It was the
Okay.
shortest program you could do at the time. And since I was a grown woman, I think I was about to turn 30. I felt like I didn't have time to be wasting. So I was like, I'm going here. I'm in a room with a bunch of people who had just graduated college. So everybody is like 22. Over here, I'm like celebrating my 30th. And if you ever want to
Which is
feel
still young, by the way,
old,
people. So let
yeah,
me just say
but
that
if
real
you
quick.
ever
But
want to feel
at that
old,
time, it felt like I got you. Go
yeah,
ahead.
hang out with some people who are just slightly younger than you, or not even slightly, but who are a few years younger than you. Then
Mm-hmm.
you really feel like there's such a big gap between me and these people.
Yeah.
So, so I went there and I didn't work a regular job because there wouldn't be, enough time for me to do my projects and stuff. I did a bunch of freelance stuff work. I did some temp agency jobs.
Like, what type of work were you doing in the meantime? Because that's what
Oh,
this podcast is about. It's literally, it's not just like the destination. Like, yes, you're a copywriter now, but I want to know, like, what was it before you got there? So
I
like,
worked for
what type of jobs did you
Groupon.
take? You worked for Groupon?
I worked at Groupon,
What did you
and
do for
I
them?
I would scour TripAdvisor listings, and I would find the places that had at least 3 stars, I think,
Hmm.
and enter them into a database so that Groupon could hit them up and try to work out deals. Like,
Oh,
literally going through
wow.
every listing. And then after that, I worked at, when that job was up, I worked at this place that, like, I guess, when people would get, like, warranties on their cars, they would, like, fill out, like a literal, like, piece of paper, like a
Hmm.
sheet, and I was entering the data entry in this little office somewhere downtown in Chicago. And, it was one of those jobs they're like, "Oh, your numbers are a little low today. What's going on?"
Oh
So I would literally
Lord,
sit in
gotta hit
there,
the quota.
listen to the Read podcast and enter all
Love
the
the
data.
read. I love the
Mhm.
read.
Me too. Me too. Shout out to Reed.
Yes.
Kid Fury Crystals. Am I Kid Fury or you Kid Fury?
I mean, you a little more entertaining. So well, I would both entertaining. And, my laugh is real loud, so I'm Crystal. So yeah, definitely. So both of those jobs you had to go to an office to. It wasn't work from home.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That
Stop
wasn't
it.
a thing then
No,
as
it
much as
wasn't
it
a
is
thing.
now. Okay, got you.
So then after that, I finished portfolio school. Well, even though it was with all these young people who I felt like didn't want to be with the old black lady in their group. So that's another thing too. Not only were they younger, they were young white people. So I feel like it felt like the gap was huge, the cultural gap. Anyway, though, I finished the program. I got my first job at a multicultural agency. It was amazing because it was like, Hillman as an advertising agency.
Yes.
And it was fun. And then right before Christmas one year, they said, "Hey, take your laptops, put them in your bags, put them in your car, but don't take them out your car because we got to leave this office. The bank is coming in to seize everything.
What?
But keep it in your car because we're gonna find a new spot." They did not find a new spot, at least not in time for me to stay with them forever. Luckily, I was able to jump to another company, and I worked on like advertising for corn dogs and tequila and insurance. And then from there, I went to another agency, and each time I feel like I made a little more money. I had a little more responsibility. I was on, a cool team. I was at a company that only did McDonald's stuff. I worked on Happy Meal, so I was
Is that
like,
the commercial that I saw with the Wreck-It Ralph? Is that the one?
yeah.
Hey, hold on.
That was fun.
Let's pause real quick because I don't even be knowing this stuff. Melanie is one of those friends who does not toot her own horn at all, but to have a freaking McDonald's commercial, sis. Okay.
I did enjoy. Girl.
You should.
Let me tell you. I mean,
so
shout out to good work trips.
And you said that's in advertising. So what exactly did you do, like for the Wreck-It Ralph commercial that I saw? Did you write the line exactly? Or did you write the story of it? Like what did you do exactly? Just so I have a better understanding and they have a better understanding.
So first of all, Happy Meal spots are 30 seconds and that's the maximum. And then there might be a cut down that's 15 seconds, which is probably most likely to be the one that airs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very short scripts. 4 seconds of those are like, for legal, for them to read a little legal thing or to show a little legal message at the end of the commercial. And super tight on what you can say to little kids. In Happy Meal, obviously, is for children. So they're very, So anyway, I'm a copywriter. So I work with an art director and we come up with a script or whatever, a few different ideas. And we were, I don't want to say competing with other teams at our company, but everybody's pitching their ideas. And luckily ours was a winner. And so we flew to LA and cast some kids to be in be in the commercial. And we went to the fake McDonald's there where they shoot it is a McDonald's, but it's not a working one. It's only for shooting commercials.
Oh wow. And that's in LA?
Shot the Happy Meal spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's not on like a studio lot or anything. It's like it's a McDonald's just for commercials.
Just for commercials. You go inside, it has everything that a real, a regular working McDonald's would have, except I think the seating is easy to move. And maybe there's like a little extra space in the kitchen. It's laid out so that, you could shoot some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Outdoor seating, people pull into the parking lot, think they're about to order something. Nope. You're not real. Sorry.
Well, just a real quick time check because Zoom only giving. I still got a free Zoom. I ain't upgraded yet, so me and you can talk all day. But if you can if possible, because we're gonna definitely have another interview at a later date. If you can real quick say how did you get into from advertising to voiceover, just real quick because I got one more question for you before we wrap it up.
Oh, so when I worked on the McDonald's stuff, some of the people on another team, they were shooting they were gonna do a new McDonald's radio commercial, and they wanted to do a scratch record, just like a practice recording, just to kind of like hear how this spot would sound. It was like, I don't even think the spot ever got made, but I did the voiceover for it, and some of the people who were there for the little recording were like, "Oh, that is great." And so, there was another coworker too. He was like, "Oh man, we should try to do voiceover." And I was like, "Oh God, that would be good." I think I just Googled like voiceover agencies near me. And there was an office downtown. I took my little McDonald's voiceover stuff that I did. I made a little reel that was super short. I submitted it online. The agency called me in. They told me to read a script. I guess they didn't have enough Black women in their talent pool. My homeboy, the white guy who also auditioned with me, did not get a spot because I think they had plenty of white men in his ashtray.
Sometimes it works out in our favor. Go ahead.
Sometimes it works out. Systematic racism, but good chance of getting a spot at this agency. So anyway, and then I just started doing a bunch of non-union work. And so I've been doing that, and America in Black came along, and look at God.
And look at that full circle moment. The little girl behind the cabinet reading aloud. And now she's the grown woman in front of the cabinet reading.
A nerd then and a bigger nerd now. But there's a check.
No, that's you at a very young age discovering your light and your purpose. And then full circle. Now you're walking in your light.
A brighter Bree. And a brighter me.
Your name is Joy. Like, come on. It don't get no brighter than joy. That's like the brightness inside of you is joy, Well, Melanie, I know we're, tapped for time. I'm definitely going to interview you again. I mean, if you will allow me to, friend.
Oh my God, girl. I'm just waiting for my next shot. You know what I'm saying?
I really enjoy talking to you. Say it again.
You too. I said, I want to talk to you again too, friend. I'll be right here on this couch. You just let me know.
So again, thank you so much for, giving me the most valuable thing you can in life, your time. So I appreciate you. Seriously, no, people take that for granted. Everyone's always chasing the bag or whatever, but I really feel like time is the most valuable thing because we can't get that back, So you agreeing to do this, I really do appreciate it. So I just want to stress that real quick, So thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you, friend.
Till the next time. Thank you. And I want to hear more about your story next time. So thank you so much. And everyone out there, make sure don't let nobody dim your light. Thank you for tuning in to A Brighter Breeze. Peace.
A Brighter Breeze.
Oh Lord, that's gonna be the new intro song. I got you. I'm gonna record you, okay? Voiceover. Actor and singer.
Breeze.
A brighter breeze.
Thanks, friend.
All right, bye girl.